Today's lead story, the letter to Theresa May, the Prime Minister, signed by 62 Eurosceptic Conservative MPs, setting out their suggestions for a Brexit deal. Peter Bone, one of the signatories, is here. We say suggestions, it sounds more like demands in this letter. Your government must have the ability to change. Your government must make sure that the guidelines are followed. I mean, you're dictating to the Prime Minister.
Well, good morning. 401 days until we come out of this dreadful European Union superstate, and that letter you have there quite clearly says we're 100% behind the Prime Minister. And it's helpful to set out some ideas, for instance, that we should have regulatory autonomy when we come out of the EU, and that we should be able to do our own free trade deals, which, of course, pretty much is what the Prime Minister is saying anyway.
Well, hang on. I mean, you are dictating. You're not offering suggestions. You're saying you must do this. There's clearly, I mean, there's what the Times says, which revealed this letter, passive-aggressive threat, really.
I don't think... that letter, I don't see how that could ever be interpreted that way, because it's wholesome support for what the Prime Minister is doing. What it is saying is there's a lot of technical stuff in there.
It's support for her when she's doing what you want, but implicitly...
Well, no, she's doing what the country wants, the right thing. But there are some technical things there.
Are you now reconciled to a hard border with Ireland?
No, there's not going to be a hard border with Northern Ireland. And there's nothing in there that suggests there's going to be a hard border with Northern Ireland.
Well, you're saying no customs union with the EU. And according to the Times, that says that's not a workable plan. It means that there would be a hard border between Northern Ireland and
that is government policy, and that is not, the Times is not right on that.
But are you saying that being out of the customs union is more important than whether or not there is a hard border with Northern Ireland?
But it isn't one or the other. You won't be in the customs...
Many experts say it is one or the other, including the European Union.
Well, I really don't think we should necessarily be taking the European Union's view on what's best for the British, for the United Kingdom.
Except it takes two to negotiate, doesn't it?
And of course, this is, and as you rightly know, this, of course, is all part of the negotiation. Yeah. But there will not be, I absolutely guarantee, a hard border in Northern Ireland.
So there may be a customs union?
No, there won't be what we're going to have a frictionless border, which is what could you imagine any British government, British government, putting up a border in Northern Ireland between the divide? It's just not going to happen, is it?
No, but it's a reality that if you have different trade blocs that don't have a customs union, there has to be some kind of...
But, no, I mean, that's not going to happen.
But I do want to ask you on the principle, because some of your colleagues, Owen Paterson, one of them, is now saying, look, actually the Belfast Agreement is past its sell-by date. You know, it was 20 years ago, and we need to move on from that. Do you think that's right?
Well, I haven't heard him say that. And I don't
he has said it.
Well, I don't think that's how you could possibly interpret it. And that's got nothing to do with that letter whatsoever.
Well, if it comes down to it, if the choice is do what you want in terms of no customs union and break the Belfast Agreement, what's your answer to that? Which is more important?
We don't have to, but these are look, I don't want to be awkward on this, but neither of those things are going to happen.
You're talking about a position there.
No, can you show me in that letter where it talks about Northern Ireland?
Well, exactly, it doesn't.
It doesn't
talk about the consequences of international trade.
It's a frictionless border. We're going to have a special relationship with the European Union. So we don't have to impose any tariffs whatsoever.
Well, all right, we go to World Trade Organization principles. You're saying during the transition, so not even at the end of the 2-year implementation.
No, what it's saying there is basics of doing free trade deals. Yeah. What we are saying, from as soon as we come out, if we are no longer in the European Union, we should have our right to do our own free trade deals. And that is absolutely obvious.
And that means going to World Trade Organization deals, and that means automatic 10% tariffs, doesn't it?
Why do you say that?
Well, because I talk to people who are trading internationally, and they say the consequences of going to WTO, coming out of the European Union without a deal, is automatically 10% tariffs.
And that is incorrect, because we can establish whatever tariffs we want. So, for instance, if you've got a 10.5% import duty on a Japanese car at the moment, we could take that off. We don't have to impose any duties on...
No, but it goes both ways, doesn't it? And as continuing members of the WTO, the EU would have no alternative but to do that, which would increase costs of trade.
There is very strong legal advice, because our regulatory alignment at the moment, the day we come out of the EU, there would be no requirement to impose any tax. In fact, there's a legal opinion to say that would be discrimination and actually illegal to do that. I mean, it would be illegal for the European Union to do that.
If the Prime Minister doesn't comply with all of what you listed in your letter, will you vote against them when it comes to the crunch in the Parliament?
What we're going to do is achieve a special relationship with the European Union. These are helpful ideas to the Prime Minister along the way. Everybody is lobbying the Prime Minister.
Will you vote against them?
I'm not going to vote against something that I don't even know what's on the table. Because lots of things might happen, but what is actually more likely to happen is we are going to get a deep and special relationship with the European Union. That's what the Prime Minister is going to deliver on, and she has my full support on that.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.